In this presentation, we will take a look at multiple choice questions related to financial statement analysis, going through those questions and then practicing test-taking skills with them. First question, sales in year one were $300,000 and in year two, $320,000. The percent change for year two is, and then we have our percentages. Now, obviously, we're going to be using a calculation here because we have our percentages. I'm going to do it within Excel. I recommend using Excel if you can, even to practice multiple choice questions, because really your goal is to picture the table that you want to do. If you can picture the table, you can write it down, but what you want to do is focus on how to put the table together, and Excel can be a little bit quicker to do if you get used to doing it there. So here we have our information. I'm going to say year one. We're just going to log down our information, 300,000, and then I'm going to say year two. And year two is going to be the 320,000, and we're looking for the percentage change. So I'm going to basically take the change overall. I'm going to subtract year two minus year one. So there's year two minus the year one. That's going, whoops, I divided it. Here's year two minus the year one. That's, of course, the 20,000. And then we want the percent change. Now, the trick on the percent change is that we want to take the change that we have, the 20,000, and divide it by not the current year, but the prior year, that being the base year, and enter. Now, it's 0 because I need to format Excel to have a percentage here. So I'm going to say, all right, home tab, numbers, percent. There's our percentage. If we want decimals, if it's more than one decimal, then we can add decimals to it. We have 6.67%. We're always going to have to be dealing with decimals. Remember that, it could be in the format of a percent. If we did it in a calculator, then we could just basically add the decimals, right? And we'd have the decimals. You can also just add decimals. It could be then in that format, converting it to a percent. We'll move the decimal place 2 places over, of course. And there we have that, adding the decimals. And there we have the format of the answer. So 6.66 or 6.67 if we take it 2 decimals out. So we're looking for, notice the answer has no decimals here. So if we have no decimals, then we're just looking for the 7%, rounded up to the 7%. So it looks like D or E is going to be our answer. Next question. Sales of 300,000 for year one, 330,000 for year two, and 380,000 for year three. Using year one as the base year, what is the revenue trend percent for years 2 and 3? So once again, we have our numerical answer. We're looking for the percentages in year 2 and 3. We could see that they're about, over 100% here, most of them. So we want to consider that for our answer. I'm going to move back to Excel and we'll take a look at it. Here we are. Let's write down our data. I typically like to write it down vertically oftentimes. So we're going to say year 1. We've got year 2. We've got year 3. And we're going to be putting in our information. Then we have the 300,000 in year 1, the 330,000 in year 2, and 380,000 in year 3. Now the trick here is we want to use year 1 as the base year. So this is the base year. So in other words, if we're looking at the percentages and the trend, everything based on year 1, we could say this equals year 1 divided by itself, or 1, or 100%. Let's make all of these cells percentages. So I'm going to go back here and add a percent. And let's see, do we have any decimals in our answers? No decimals in the answers, so we'll just keep it with no decimals. And then we're going to say that year 2 is equal to the 330,000 divided by year 1. Now note what I'm doing here is formatting the table. If you get good at visualizing how you want to format the table, it'll be easy to write this out in hand, by hand. It's somewhat, it might have a very sloppy table like I would have, but at least you'll know how to put, where the boxes are supposed to go instead of having things floating around all over the place. Now, the last one, the tricky piece is that you want to basically take this back to year 1, not to year 2. So we're going to take the 380,000 over the year 1 number to get that nice smooth trend based on the 1 year, as opposed to what they'll probably have in one of the answers is the 380 over the prior year. That's what we're tempted to do. And you would get something like that. And so 115 is probably one of our answers because that's wrong. But so what we're looking for is the 110 and the 127. So we're looking for the 110 and the 127. So in year 2, the 110, the 127, year 2 and 3 looks like A is the one we want. And note there's that 115. and the 110, that's going to be probably the most common incorrect answer. So just remember, every time you get a number that happens to be on the statement, there's only a few numbers because they're going to have to limit the amount of numbers they can give you with these kind of problems. So they're always going to give you basically any combination of the numbers that are on the page. So just basically calculating something that happens to be in the answer is not going to be enough to give you some verification that you have the correct answer.